Recording. Hi, everybody. This is Sharona, and welcome to another episode of Conversations That Matter Most. And again, I'm here with my phenomenal, that's a phenomenal partner, sidekick. I need to come up with some other adjectives. Anyway, just a totally groovy person all the way around. Claudette.
Woohoo! Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Sharona. And just by the way, it's reciprocal. So you're my mirror image. So you're just the same. So hi, everyone. Really excited to be here today, and I'm looking forward to this conversation that matters most.
Me too. And for those who are returning viewers, yay! Glad you're here. Woohoo! And for those who are newbies, yay! Glad you're here. And just a little bit background. Claudette and I met, and I was thinking about this the other day, Claudette, how we met, and I don't remember. There's those things that go on Facebook. Tell me how we met in one word. I'm going, how can anyone do that in one word? Anyway, I don't remember, but somehow we came together and we started having these conversations, and then we realized that these were actually conversations that we don't have a lot of times with other people, friends, family. And so we decided that we were going to come together weekly to have these conversations. So that way we get to share our experience, our thoughts, a tidge of wisdom, if you will, and tips and suggestions. Because Claudette, you're you're known as the stepmom coach, and so you work with stepmoms. And give me a little bit about what you do, or just a tidge of is that a word, tidge? It is now.
We just invented
I think tidge word. I've heard it before. About what you are about, and how these conversations you actually also are part of how you work with stepmoms and step families.
Thanks, Sharona. So as Sharona said, I'm Claudette Chenevert, and I'm known as the stepmom coach. And so the conversations we have, there's many issues around being stepmom and a step family. And if you're a stepmom or in a step family, I don't need to describe it in full because I'm pretty sure you're already living in it. I've been a stepmom for 27 years, so I get it. And so some of the conversations we have are to help you to, one, realize you're not alone, two, that you're not crazy or abnormal, that a lot of people go through this, but also we are here to share about ways to maybe think or look at the situation a little differently, and to inspire you to either take action or to think a little differently. Because our purpose isn't to make you agree or disagree with us, but it's to help you to think maybe a little deeper or in a different way than you would have normally thought of. And so Sharona works with midlife women. And so we thought that together we made a great match where I would talk about stepmoms, Sharona talks about midlife women. And Sharona, tell us a little bit about, what you do and how our conversations that matter most can help midlife women in their journey in life.
So, unlike you, I have not been a midlife woman for many, many years. I've been a midlife woman for the amount of years that I've been a midlife woman, but I have been a woman for a very long time. And I find that one of the things as a woman, and as I work with midlife women, and change is something that we all go through. constantly in our life. And to me, when I started into the journey of midlife myself, I came to that crossroad of asking, what matters to me most at this moment? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want to take? And what do I want to do to move forward? And so so for me, these conversations were, even though, it might be, it might be like, today we're going to be talking about being fierce and snarky, and we'll get into what that means. But it was like, as women, most of us have been taught a certain way to be a real woman. What does a real woman look like? What does a real mom look like? What does a real step mom look like, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It's all that, and what it always comes up for me, and I think this is why we had this conference about snarkiness, and there was a whole other reason about snarky, was that there's this thing about women having to be nice, and to, recently I was just minding my own business, and some dude said, "Oh, smile, it can't be that bad." And I'm going, what? And I just kept, and I go, "No, it is that bad. Go away." And I go, "Oh, well, I'm just being friend." I'm going, why is it that people think that they have the right to approach me to say, "Why don't you smile?" Or, "I'm just being friendly." It's like, why is that still a part of being a woman? I never would think of going up to a woman or up to a man and saying, "Oh, how about smiling? You should smile more." It's like, right. So then the snarky side of me started going, "Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insight. So helpful." So
Sharona, as you're talking about being snarky, and it's a word I know we've heard, but I want to hear from you what you see being snarky is.
okay, so, and it was interesting because I heard this word years ago, snarky, and I always thought it was a fun word. I didn't know that there's a, when you look it up in the official dictionaries, it has this, it's about being sarcastic, but it's also about being rude and, and inconsiderate and all that. And I go, no, that's not what it feels like to me when I'm snarky. So maybe maybe there's another word, but it's not being sarcastic, and it's not trying to cause harm. It's just taking whatever's coming at me and putting a little bit of humor in it, and then just twisting things around and shifting it just a little bit.
Yeah. And one of the things about words, right, is that we all have our own definition. Depending, I think, in the region, your culture, we define it in different ways. And so for me, snarky was like, for me, it was like synonym to being sarcastic. With a little grain of humor, and I think that's probably why both of us are like, yeah, I like this word. I like snarky. But again, we all define our words differently. So I think that's why it's important for you and I to maybe define what we think being snarky means, and maybe some of our listeners could put a comment in our comment below and let us know what you think about being snarky, what you think snarkiness means, and then we'll have a different definition, maybe. Who knows?
And I agree. I think a lot of times we do have, even the word like being nice. Being nice. Nice has many different, what does that mean? I don't, we can look it up in a dictionary, but it has a different meaning to me than maybe you do. So I might not, so snarky might offend somebody. I don't want to be snarky. so we don't have to use it, but there's got to be something that I can do when I'm battling, um, um, when I'm gonna, how this conversation started was I was dealing with my inner meanie, and I have a very, very strong inner meanie, and some people call that the inner critic, the inner,
Then
the gremlin, what, the judge, the tyrant, whatever you want to call that.
conscience, maybe. I don't think so. That's
Yeah.
just gonna be that.
No. What? Let's see. Monkey
The
brain,
monkey brain.
which I also find because it's yakety yakety, and so. And my inner meanie has been with, and I decided to call it an inner meanie because it's a meanie, and it's, it's like a mean girl. It just, and as I have grown and matured, so has my inner meanie. But basically, it does the same thing over and over again. And I was having this conversation with somebody, and this whole thing about talking positive, like, oh, thank you for sharing what lessons you. And I'm going, oh, this is exhausting. Because it never stops. It never stops. So I finally, so the other day I'm working on this project, and the intermediate was saying, well, you're a complete failure, and why bother, nobody really, you have nothing, blah blah blah, and I finally I said to her, I don't know if this is snarky, but this is what it felt like to me. I said to my inner, I go, yeah, you're right. You are so right. Yeah, I'm a complete failure. Yay for you. You're great detective working. You are so right on it. Now what? Well, I didn't know what to do. What do you mean? You're agreeing with me? Yeah, fine, go. Yeah. I'll just sit here. Tell me what you want to talk about next. I'll just sit here. I'll just wait. What other thing would you like to bring up? And I'm going to just tell you, for about 10 minutes, there was complete calm. So I decided I'm going to start doing that all the time. So when it's starting to yammer at me, I just started to get snarky with it. It's like, okay. Why don't you go on? And then I just said, so matter of fact, I said to it, because they keep saying you got to give the monkey brain or something else to do, and it's like, oh. So I said, why don't you go into the database and find out something more that you can bring to me so that we can continue this conversation with other things. Go. Have fun. Dig it all up. So I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. But I just thought I got to do something different, because nothing will ever shut it up. Nothing will stop it. It is always there. It's how do I'm just trying some other way to. And then for me, I began to realize that humor has always had this snap to it, in a way, when I twist it around, and I use it as a way to combat things. I can't explain it, but so that's when snarky came into my conversation.
And I'm smiling, not smiling. I'm smiling because I can see some of the humor behind it, and it's a strategy, right? Strategies don't work for everybody the same way, and like it depends on where you are. Like, there are times where I will talk myself in a gentle way and say, now listen, this, you've done good before, you're not a total failure, look at all you've done. And there are times it works, but there are times it doesn't, right? It's being vicious, right? It's viciously trying to diminish or break you down, right? Trying to break your spirit. And so sometimes when you are faced with something really demeaning and trying to break your spirit, you really need to just either hit it back really like a fierce person, or being snarky, or maybe for some people it'll be sarcastic. But you know what? When you shared this with me earlier this week, what I appreciated was that, you know, even though you sort of like, yeah, you're right. Obviously, you're being sarcastic and sneaky about it. You know, it sort of shut this inner meaning, and that's what we need to do, to zip it, shut it up. Even if duct tape, you know, sometimes I say put duct tape on it. Obviously, it won't. It doesn't always work. But yeah, sometimes I wish just duct tape it or put a giant zipper on it. But you know, the thing is that we all have different strategies, and you have that little piece of humor you add there with your body movement, which I think is like great. You know, when we look at comedians, and some of the funniest jokes we hear or that hit for us are because they're true to us. Like I'm thinking of Robin Williams, I'm thinking of Whoopi Goldberg, I'm thinking of Jim Carrey, you know, a lot, Chris Rock. There's a lot of great comedians out there that have done comic, and when you listen to them, you know, they're telling the truth in a way that's almost sarcastic or snarky, as you said, to make us think like, yeah, ridiculous to think that could be true. Like, really? And then you have to laugh it off.
And you know, it's interesting because I've never thought of myself as a comedian or anything like that, but I do have a sense of humor. And I know part of it was growing up, and part of my environment, and part of it was just how I view the world. And I think part of that is this inquisitive curiosity about life and other people and how things work. And I just find sometimes, and I have this really, so most of my life I was told, you know, I would not be taken seriously if I was laughing or giggling, or, you know, because I find really interesting things funny that most people wouldn't. And I can't explain. It's just like, and it's everyday stuff, and it's not stuff people are getting hurt or something. It's like I see it in a different perspective, and so for me, I always quite try to squash it down. So recently, I was trying to find, you know, a martial art form, because I like for me, physical activity and dancing is very important to my well-being. It grounds me into the present moment. And so I went to this class. It was a keto, because I thought, oh, this would be, you know, because it's about, you know, moving energy and all that. Now, maybe because I'm a midlife woman, maybe because I've been too disciplined, I was just sitting there going, so as and what I do is, because I have all this energy, I'm big, I talk, things move around really fast. And so one of the teachers is teaching me something, and it is so fucking quiet in the room because everyone's really serious. I'm going, oh my God. So there I am being loud and going, oh, look, I did that. Yeah. You know, and all of a sudden I'm going, I just realized that's my martial arts. Is because really, if you think about it, I know it's scary, and I have been attacked, I've been mugged, and in the moment, you know, you need to know, but I'm thinking, if I just start laughing hysterically for no reason, that just throws all the energy off. No, you know, one of the things I learned a long time ago when I was working in a place, you know, I had to go someplace in the city, is talk out loud to yourself and have an argument. No one will bother you.
You might get picked up, though.
That's fine. That's fine. They can come and say everything. Yeah, I'm just having a conversation. I actually had someone one time, I'm talking out loud to myself, having a conversation. I'm walking a trail. There's nobody. And a person was coming at me, and they gave me a wide berth. earth? And I said, oh, just having, we're just trying to decide what we're eating today. But that's the thing is, for me, I have to allow that humor and my energy to come through. And every time I try to squelch it into something else. And so snarky is something that I have naturally done. And now I'm giving it permission to help deal with the stress of being in this world at this moment. And
yeah, giving yourself permission. I think that's important, right, Sharona? Because you know how many times have we as women, whether you're a stepmom, a mom, a midlife, whatever stage in life you are, how many times have we done things in order to conform to a certain label or a certain box that society has said we need to be in, and we feel we don't fit. I'm thinking, you know, one of the things that you were mentioning is I talk loud. I've always talked loud. I talk with my hands, like forever and ever. So, you know, I'm thinking of places I go where, like, even I love to go to Starbucks, and sometimes, you know, I'm talking either with you or someone on the phone, and then my husband looks at me and I see in his eyes, like, don't talk so loud. But this is me, you know, this is who I am. But he's going like, but he still loves me and lets me talk loud. Then I'll try to tone it down. And then, or sometimes I'll look at him. You know, like, really? But, you know, there's this thing I want to say about humor that I think we forget, that humor can be healing. Mm-hmm. You know, when we use it to heal and not to mock, you know, we have to be careful that when we're talking about healing, we're not talking about mocking or insulting someone, but to heal from either a situation or whatever is happening in our lives. It can be healing. And so when you add that to being sarcastic, and that's why I think that at least you and I, when we talk being snarky, you know, it's that sense of being sarcastic with humor in there. And obviously not everybody will get it, and some people will be insulted. Just like when I talk very loud, people are annoyed, and like, but you know, I'm not meaning anything disrespectful. This is who I am, and I do talk with my hands. So I think it's just to give it a try, that when your inner mini monkey brain gremlin, whatever you want to talk about, this thing is overpowering you over your identity, it's time to put a stop to it and say, hey, get out of my face.
Right. It's like there's a time when, you know, there's only so many times that you can deflect a dog attacking you, you know, doing calm. And sometimes you just got to say to the dog, I am the alpha, get off, you know. Yeah. Or I remember one time during one of my martial arts training, and it was mostly street learning how to survive on the street. And this big hunky guy was coming after me. Pretend, you know, but he's coming after me. And all I did, and this is where the fierce comes in with the snarky, it was like, in my brain, I have to be, I was terrified. And all I did is just ground in, and I just looked at him and I said, do you really think that's a good idea at this time? And he said, now you know, his job was to come attack me. And he goes, I don't know what you just did, but he goes, I didn't want to attack you. I go, okay.
And you see, this is like an example, right? we're taught to all these defenses, but sometimes just like, hey, we're not doing this. This stops here, right?
And again, yeah. And again, there are, like anything, like snarkyism or whatever, there are times when it's appropriate and times that is not. And it's like, it's not, and it's like anything else, but it's not about, and I think that's one of the things is like, if I know I'm going to be in a room full of very quiet people, I have learned techniques to bring everything in. I can bring it in. Now, doesn't mean I don't talk with my hands. It just means I talk with my hands closer to my center. But I do, and there are times, if I know that I can feel myself getting louder because of whatever, I go and I'll take a breath and bring it in. However, there's something about what other strategies can I use, still allowing myself to be me, still giving myself a voice, still bearing fears, but not having everything go ballistic.
Yeah.
Unless ballistic is required at that moment.
So I see this as one of your tools to put in your toolbox, right?
Right.
Like if you're a carpenter, you will have more than just a hammer in your toolbox. You're going to have a whole set of tools to fit whatever circumstances, situations you have. So think of being snarky and as one additional tool for your toolbox that may be used, like you said, whatever the situation or your mood, whatever. Right?
And one of the things before we wrap up here, Claudette, I always say, this is all just tips and suggestions, trying on different things, seeing if it works, experiment in safe ways and safe places, because it's about our safety and our well-being, and we need to know that we, on some level, as women, I know we will be mama bears and mama wolves, and we'll go do what we need to do for our family and friends and all that. But sometimes we need to remember that we need to do that same kind of fierce protector warrior to stand up for ourselves, and we need to find ways to deal with things to keep us safe and thriving. So that's just something. And again, this was just a conversation that started because I thought I'm going to try flex my snarky muscle, whatever that means. So, as we wrap up, Claudette, and anything you want to add before we close today's episode?
So I just want to say that, I really enjoyed our conversation, especially as I'm thinking about stepmoms who are dealing with maybe narcissistic exes or hostile exes or rude and obnoxious stepkids. You might need to take out that snarky little piece of you and just, okay, that's it. Even in your own head, like this started with Sharona's inner Mimi being, attacking her and deciding, okay, I'm going to be snarky with it. But, understand that it's a tool, one of many tools you can use. And if you want to talk more about, being snarky and when to use it and not, I'd love to talk with you. And you can reach me at Claudette@stepmomcoach.com. You can use hashtag stepmomcoach or hashtag stepmomwisdom. You can also check out my website at stepmomcoach.com, where there's plenty of resources, including some e-classes that you might be interested in taking up. So that's it for being a stepmom. So Sharona, what if you I'm a midlife woman, and I am sick and tired of hearing my inner meaning saying blah, blah, blah. How can they reach you to get some more suggestions?
Thanks, Claudette. And you know what? As you were talking, one of the things is, as a midlife woman, we've been on this planet for some amount of time. And, you know, I always think about teenage young women and how they have this whole snarky attitude and they all, you know, roll their eyes and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing is we need to bring that teenager with us. We need to bring that, you know, that sense of, you know what, I get it. I get it. I need to be appropriate, but sometimes, you know what, I get to use my experience. I think one of the things is was it fried green tomatoes, when she crashes the car of the young ones and she goes, yeah, I'm older and I have more insurance. You know, we need to be able to use that, you know. So, you know, if you're inner meanie or if you have an outer meaning, you know, again, make sure there you have a, you know, you have support and safety. But when you're dealing with being having to deal with that a constant attack or that emotional, and you know, or being told having emotions and is wrong, or you know, you're so hysterical, or why are you so dramatic, or why are you being so whatever that is, that's, and you want to learn more of how to do a keto with the emotions and with that inner meanie, you can reach me at Sharona at Midlife Women Dancing with Change. My website is www.midlifewomendancingwithchange. You can also find me at hashtag Midlife Women Dancing with Change, hashtag Emotional Impact, and hashtag Thriving in the Midst of okay, I'm going to say that again. My brain just went out. Can't let it come back.
It left and came back.
I had to do a jog. Hashtag Thriving in the Midst of Midlife Change. And I would love to have a conversation about it. And also, there's on the website, you can download a free mini 6-episode of Thriving in the Midst of Midlife Change that will give you a little bit of this to give you some support. Also, you know, make a comment below because Claudette and we love to hear from you and what you think about what you think snarky means to you, you know, and have you used it, you know, and when. So that'd be something. The other thing too is subscribe to our Conversations That Matter Most channel, and so that way you can be in the loop. So I want to thank you, everyone, for watching. And Claudette, thank you so much for another awesome episode of Conversations That Matter Most and letting us play in this arena of snarkyism. So
thank you, Sharona, for being a wonderful midlife woman, sharing and showing us like how to be ourselves and allowing us to be snarky.
So suddenly I have a puppet. I need to make the snark puppet. Okay, so there you go. Instead of a sock puppet, it's a snark puppet. Anyway, everyone, have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next time on Conversations That Matter Most.
Bye.
Bye for now.